Hi friends, this is Loli. Welcome to the channel. Today I bring you 3 beautiful patriotic wreaths. I hope you enjoy the video. Here is the first inspiration piece. For that I use one of these wood rounds from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to just remove the hanger and I'm going to paint it with my Black & Decker paint and primer. Then I took one of these garden flags from the Dollar Tree and I'm going to place it right on top of my wood round. It's still a little bit wrinkly, so I want to go ahead and remove all those wrinkles using my little iron. And then I'm going to go ahead and put this over the same wood sign and I'm going to measure exactly how I want it to fit. And we are going to take some Mod Podge and we are going to completely cover the board using Mod Podge. And before the Mod Podge dried, I placed the flag right on top of it, making sure not to lose my placement. Then I go ahead and remove any bubbles. And I'm going to just go ahead and make sure everything is molded and cut all that excess flag from the ends. Once I'm happy with the placement, I'm going to go ahead and flip it over. And I'm going to create little slits along that excess fabric that I have there. That way it's much easier for me to fold this onto the back of the wood round. Then I took my hot glue and I'm placing it onto the round and I'm sticking that fabric over it just to make sure that everything is nicely rounded and nice and neat. Friends, I want to take a quick moment to say thank you so much for clicking on my video. And a big hug to my amazing subscribers. Then I took one of these Dollar Tree rings and I'm going to paint it with my white Black & Decker chalk paint. And once it's dried, I'm going to go ahead and glue it using some hot glue on the top of the wood ground. I absolutely love these pieces, guys. Look how much of a difference it makes. That pop of color. All right, then I make sure everything was nice and glued. Place some weight on the back. And now we're going to embellish this a little bit. So I took some of these stars from the Dollar Tree. And I placed them like you see there. Then I'm going to come in with some of this Craft Mart blue paint. I believe it's called dark blue. And I'm going to paint every other star in this color. Friends, if you're enjoying this video so far, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and give me a thumbs up. I quickly dry my stars with my heat gun. I'm going to go ahead and glue them back in the same position I had them before using a little bit of hot glue. Then I took the stars that remain unpainted and I'm going to go ahead and remove them and we're going to paint them with this flamingo red from Apple Barrel. Once those dried, I'm going to go ahead and glue them right in between the blue ones. It's time for further embellishments. I'm going to go ahead and create a bow for the top here. I was thinking about, something small at first. I went over and I cut this piece of burlap that I got from Carolina Pottery. It's a store in North Carolina I went to. I love that store. I have a video about it with a walkthrough if you'd like to watch it. Then I took some of this red that red ribbon from the Dollar Tree. And I'm going to go ahead and cut it just a little bit smaller than this one. And I'm going to dovetail the ends of those as well. And I did the same using this blue ribbon from the Dollar Tree. I didn't like how that turned out, so I'm going back to the drawing board. And I'm going to take some of this burlap ribbon from the Dollar Tree. And I'm going to create a big, nice old bow for this. I used my most used technique of just doing a crisscross applesauce bow, cutting it off there and tying the center. Then I took some of the red ribbon and I did the same exact thing, just a little bit smaller. This ribbon tends to unravel, so I'm using my lighter to burn off the edge to avoid any fraying. And we're going to add some of that blue ribbon as well. So I just placed it in the same, crisscross applesauce kind of bow. And I'm going to tie it using the remainder jute from the red bow. And I'm just attaching it to the red bow and double knotting it. Then I tied it to the burlap bow, double knotted it as well. And just fluffed it off to make sure that everything was nice and neat. And we are going to go ahead and glue this to our wood round. I added hot glue towards the back as well to make sure that this was nice and secure. But wait, I'm not done yet. I took that first tail thing that I did in the beginning and I'm going to add it as additional tails. I made a second one and I'm gluing it to the back of this. And then I'm going to go ahead and just, raise it up a little bit so it has like a little flowy feel. And I'm attaching it with some hot glue there as well. So it looks like another piece of fabric, like floating in the wind pretty much. And I repeated this same process with both sides. Then I flipped it over and added some more hot glue to the back as well and tacked that other piece of burlap to the bow. And of course, I'm not done yet. We need to make a cute hanger for this. So I took one of these garlands from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to use the same jute cord that I took off in the beginning, and I'm just going to put some of those beads onto that jute cord instead. And I was all ready to put that onto the same holes that I had, but hey, what happened? I covered them up. I couldn't find them, guys, so I had to go ahead and glue it to the back instead using some hot glue. And I just attached some more hot glue to the top to ensure that this stayed in place. Place a piece of masking tape or painter's tape over it while it was still wet. And now I'm going to cover the back using some craft paper. I used my X-Acto knife to remove the excess paper, and that's it pretty much, guys. Here it is, all complete. Let me know what you think. I am in love with this piece. My friends, today's video is part of a collaboration hosted by Lisa from Our Grey House, by Sarah from Jujubee DIY, and by the amazing Charleen from the Crafty Art Shack. This event is held monthly, and in this month, we are to create some patriotic DIYs. The links to the channels and to the playlist will be in the description box below and pinned in the comments. Make sure to go on by to the playlist so you don't miss out on all the amazing creations. Okay friends, let's jump back in. The second wreath we're going to be creating, I'm going to be using this wreath form from the Dollar Tree and some of this burlap burlap ribbon from the Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to attach the little piece there just with a bit of hot glue, and we are going to wrap the entire wreath form using this. I believe I use 2 rolls, actually not 2 rolls completely, like 1 1/4 rolls to completely cover this. To make sure I had a seamless transition between the 2 rolls, I made sure to start my new roll where the other one ended. Then I tacked the end towards the back of the wreath with a bit of hot glue. Adjusted my burlap, and now I'm going to come in with some of these patriotic daisies from the Dollar Tree. I used 2 bunches. I just cut them pretty short, and then I placed that stem through the burlap fabric and all the way to the back of the wreath. And I'm going to make sure that everything is nice and flat to push it as far as I can into the back of the wreath. And I did that with all of them, making sure to alternate between the red, white, and blue. Friends, if you enjoyed this video so far, I'm going to ask you to leave me a thumbs up and also subscribe. It is free and it means the world to me. And hit the notification bell so you're able to be notified each time that I upload a video. Thank you so much for your support. Alright friends, then here I took my pliers and I'm just bending those stems down to make sure that they're flat against, and I did that for the entire wreath. You see there how I'm bending it down, and I'm cutting off the excess, making sure everything is nice and tight. Then I'm coming in with my hot glue and I am attaching it right onto where that bent piece is to keep everything in place. Nope, not done yet. I'm going to come in with some of these sticks from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to do the same thing like I did with the flowers. So I'm going to just stick those stems through the burlap, bend them over, and these are going to be sticking completely out, and I'm placing them in different colors in between each one of the daisies. I started with the red, then I went over to a white one. Then I'm going to use the blue one, and I did this until I completely filled up all the middle places in between the daisies. And bending the pieces of stem down. And I'm going to do the same thing I did here. But now here I'm using my heat gun to open up those daisies so they're nice and cute. Look at them, how cute they are now. Just be careful not to burn your berries. So now we are going to go ahead and secure the berry picks as well. So I cut off the excess, and I'm doing the same thing, just adding some hot glue underneath and on top to keep everything in place. And I'm still not done. I'm going to take one of these welcome signs from DECOR. I'm going to add my this is metal so that we stuff up the paint. So I'm going to give it one nice surface. So the color again, cut this little mud right here. And I'm going to go ahead and dry with my heat gun, and then I'm coming in with a black mud bright white paint, and I'm going to give this to this. Now it's time to attach it to my wreath. So I'm going to take some jute cord, and I'm going to tie it into the two little pieces, or little hooks that this welcome sign has. I did a double knot, cut off a piece that was long enough to use later on, make sure that my measurements are right. And then I attached one to the other side. I'm going to go ahead and do two little knots on each end of the jute cord. I trim off the excess there. And we are going to go ahead and flip this sign over so I'm able to see exactly where I'm going to be placing this. So once I know the exact space there, I'm going to go ahead and back down my jute cord on there, making sure to make this sign as level as possible. And I did the same thing to the other side. And I flipped it over, and it was a little bit lopsided, so I'm adding. start with some red first, and then I'm going to be, you know, creating pretty much the stripes of a flag, but I'm using the burlap as the white. I want to go more with the rustic feel, so you see me there how I'm lining them all up. And for the last one, I didn't want that frayed piece of burlap to show, so I took some of the burlap ribbon that I got from the Carolina pottery that I mentioned before, and I'm going to be, you know, you see me there how I'm folding the ends in, so I have a nice neat end for the end of my lines here. You'll see exactly what I mean. I'm just using the iron here to make sure that everything is nicely pleated and that the ribbon is the same size all the way to the top. And here I am adding hot glue to those little seams to make sure that everything stays in place. Then I painted it the same way I did before, and now I'm going to start positioning my ribbons back onto the wreath form. I'm making sure to remove any little frayed edges, and I'm going to just place them that they overlap just a little bit so it hides those little frayed edges as well. And I did that all the way down, and for the final one I'm using that ribbon that I did at last there. Now I'm attaching them using my hot glue, making sure to hold that burlap fabric nice and taut. Once I got to the end, I flipped this over and I'm tacking down all those ends there onto the wreath form. And then I'm going to go ahead and add a bit of hot glue where those strips join, making sure not to add too much so that way we don't have any see-through. This is just to keep everything in place. Then I created a hanger using some of this Carolina pottery burlap fabric, burlap ribbon I should say, and I just attached it to the middle of my wreath there, adding it with some hot glue. Be careful to not burn yourself here, use your finger protection. Then I use my bow here, put it right in the corner. I wanted this bow to represent the corner of the American flag. You know how you have your stars right there in the corner? This is what my bow is doing right here. And I just attached it with some hot glue. Then I attached one of these welcome signs that I got from Dollar Tree. This comes in a pack of 3 during the fall season, I believe. And I just added with some hot glue, and I forgot to put my gel super glue, so I'm coming in afterwards with it because I want this to be secure. Since it's metal and it might be outside, the hot glue will easily, you know, soften and everything can fall apart. So I'm just adding my super glue for protection. And here it is, guys. I love this piece. You guys tell me how you like it. Which one of these three are your favorite? And my friends, as always, thank you so much for watching. Be blessed, be a blessing, and craft responsibly. And if you'd like to follow me on social media, here are my social media links. And don't forget to visit my friends on the playlist. And here are some suggestions if you want to watch some more of my videos. Thank you so much as always. You are amazing. Bye.